Can't decide and torn between a romantic, comedy, action, or an indie film to watch for the weekend? Well. Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast is your ultimate guide to the latest movies. Join us as we dissect the latest on the blockbusters. It's the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast.
Hello, and welcome to GSMC Movie Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. And I am your host,
finally,
Cynthia, and I was interrupted by
joined
my
in
other
unison
co-host.
by
Okay, join in unison by Keith.
Keith. That's me.
Just Keith.
Keith.
My co-host.
The host that is the co.
That is the co.
Yeah.
There we go. So
not the host that is a hoe.
Oh.
I mean.
Or that.
Yeah.
I'm
Co-host.
Co-host.
That'd be funny if it was called a hoe coast.
No, what? Let's not make me think too hard here now. Before we start recording, we just finished the music one, and now we're setting up to do this one.
We would never record 2 podcasts in a row. Don't ruin the
Let me say this. They need to know, because I'm like a reporter right now. We just found out.
Breaking
Are you done?
news.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just doing a thing.
Oh. I was like, I thought you were going to do like the circus tune. Or the clown tune that I'm not going to do. Yeah.
No, I was not. This is not lighthearted news. I was doing the like whenever breaking news happens on a TV show, it's always like boop, 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 and it never resolves because it's supposed to have like tension to the listener. So anyway, music theory nerd stuff. What's the news? Wait. Did you know that Tom Hanks and his wife have coronavirus?
Oh my God. Yeah, that was it.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I'm trying to be funny about this. This is very serious. It's really awful. Tom Hanks and his wife Rita are wonderful individuals. Tom Hanks is probably like my favorite celebrity as far as his antics with his fans goes. He's just a riot. Also an excellent actor. He's been around for a long time. Active individual in philanthropy and in the community that he's in the acting community. I really appreciate him. And my condolences and best wishes absolutely go out to he and his wife as they deal with something that's really difficult and potentially dangerous to them.
Yeah. So we literally just found that out right now. So it's kind of scary. I mean, this stuff is real. So just be careful out there, folks.
Wash your hands.
Mm-hmm. Don't touch your face.
Don't touch your face.
All of that. So
and don't touch other people's faces.
Yeah. That too.
Yeah.
Just don't.
No, I mean, generally as a rule, like, unless you have explicit permission to touch another individual's face, you should actively avoid doing so.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's like some scary stuff. We just found that out. I'm like, whoa. So I'm a little shook over here. But besides that was just like the quick, music news. Or not music, movie.
Yeah, because Tom Hanks is a
actor,
movie star.
Right.
He's an actor, yes.
So, yeah. Kind of freaky.
Yeah.
But
how have you been? You're not feeling sick, are you?
No. Just this daylight savings is.
It's got me shook.
It's not working right now.
Yeah, no, I'm not about it.
My circadian rhythm is for sure off. Like I can't go to sleep. I'm like
your circadian rhythm is like a John Cage song. It just is almost non-existent.
Exactly.
This may as well be an Animal Collective record. There is no beat.
There's no beat. No, but really, like I feel extremely tired right now. Like it's just like
I've been super groggy all week. Like I am just not about. 1, daylight savings time, archaic and lame. 2, to have to spring forward and lose an hour of sleep, and it's the full moon. Like, oh my gosh, I'm just ready to go to bed now. And like I walked out of the studio for a minute, and it's like still light outside. When normally it would be dark by now, and I'm like, oh, I guess winter is over.
Right, officially.
Yeah.
And like the room we're in is like We can't tell. There's literally like no windows in here. So like we do not know how the outside looks like.
I haven't seen the outside world for 5 years.
Right. So yeah, that is that.
Yeah.
And for this week, we decided to choose movies with a strong female lead because International Women's Day just happened this past Sunday.
Yes,
so
happy International Women's Day, belated International Women's Day to all the ladies out there.
It should be every day because we're thebomb.com.
I mean, every day should be International Person Day because I think everybody deserves to be celebrated for what it is that they bring to the people around them.
But women.
I mean,
I'm like, but women.
I don't know. Every day, that seems like a little bit of overkill. Every day.
We should be celebrated every single day.
Yeah, but like with an internationally recognized holiday type thing.
Okay, obviously not. But I'm just saying,
you're
women should be celebrated every day.
Everyone should be celebrated every day.
Man.
We all have excellent things to bring, and women deserve a special day of recognition. In addition to that, in my opinion.
Agreed.
Okay.
All right.
That does not sound like a wholehearted agreement.
I said agreed.
Yeah, but it was like agreed.
Agreed, because I'm looking right here
Look,
at
are you
this
just
movie.
trying to deny that like everybody's special and is deserving
everyone,
of some sort of recognition?
Everyone has their own unique, ticks. I like to call them.
Ticks?
Ticks.
As in like the arachnid parasite that latches on to your body and
not a
sucks your blood?
parasite, but everybody has their own unique qualities.
Thank you. Yes. Yeah, let's phrase that positively. Mm-hmm. Yes. So, do I get to go first this time?
Yes, you do.
Oh my gosh.
I know.
I want everyone to take a moment and relish this because I don't think I've ever gone first on any of the podcasts that Cynthia and I have hosted together. I think her picks have always been first. Ladies first. It's a thing. Not that that's why that's why it happens. It's usually because you put your show notes in before me. But
let's switch it up today.
This particular time, I guess I am going first because I put my show notes in first. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm never doing that again.
You're like, never again. I do not want to go first.
So my first pick for movie with a strong female lead. Well, I guess it doesn't have to necessarily be like strong female lead. It's just a movie that stars a woman in the lead role was kind of the qualifier that I was going for. So I picked Alien / Prometheus. So Alien as a franchise because I believe every movie centers on a woman. Please comment below or tweet at us if I am incorrect about that assumption. But Alien is the one that we're mainly talking about today. I would like to give an honorable shout out to Prometheus. As Cynthia noticed, What Happened to Wednesday actress.
Monday. What happened to Monday? I think I said Monday. Wednesday when I told you. So what happened to Monday? Yeah, Noomi Rapace. That's her name.
She was in Prometheus and did an incredible job. The acting in that movie, especially by her, is half of what makes that movie really good. And I know that a lot of people don't like it. You can at me in the comments over it. I think that movie is amazing. Special effects are impeccable. The acting is great. The premise is really good. And I think it does a good job of establishing other themes within the franchise of Alien. But anyway, we're talking about Alien mainly. We're focusing on it. Alien stars Sigourney Weaver as Ridley. It was released in 1979. It is a horror science fiction thriller. Quick synopsis. In the distant future, the crew of the commercial spaceship Nostromo are on their way home when they pick up a distress call from a distant moon. The crew are under obligation to investigate, and the spaceship descends to the moon. After a rough landing, 3 crew members leave the spaceship to explore the area on the moon. At the same time as they discover a hive colony of some unknown creature. The ship's computer deciphers the message to be a warning, not a distress call. When one of the eggs is disturbed, the crew realizes that they are not alone on the spaceship and they have to deal with the consequences of having landed on that moon after misinterpreting a warning or a distress for a warning call. So, it's really considered to be a classic.
By who?
Most of the movie watching community would say that this is like a classic in the sci-fi genre.
But why don't a lot of people like it then?
No. A lot of people don't like Prometheus. So the trailer that you watched before the show was for Prometheus, not for Alien. Prometheus came out a few years ago. The original movie in this franchise, it's the Alien franchise. The original movie came out in 1979. Have you ever seen, they're called xenomorphs. It's like a large black alien with like a super long head and its tongue has a mouth on it.
Oh, I don't think so.
No, you know what a face hugger is.
A face hugger?
You've never heard of like face hugger aliens?
No.
Those things are both from this franchise.
Okay.
So
that's why I was like, wait. I'm like, I thought, okay. I know that's why I was confused when you were like, the movie was released in 1979. Because I'm like, I don't think
no special effects,
right?
Yeah,
right. I was
other,
like, these actors have aged very well. Then
no, yeah, and Michael Fassbender was in it too. Like,
right,
no,
Iris
no.
Elba too.
Yeah, no, the original movie that I'm talking about starred Sigourney Weaver, and that came out in 1979. It was one of the first. I think it was one of the like premier female leading roles in the science fiction genre, which I've noticed a lot of sci-fi movies like female leads, which I think is cool. Science fiction and like the fantasy genre have a tendency to be the place where certain more fringe aspects of pop culture become normalized, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. So for Sigourney Weaver to go into a science fiction horror thriller and kind of like, she didn't like pave the way by any means for female-led action movies, but it's just a good example of like good filmmaking that portrays a woman as being like the kind of like in charge BA person who ends up kind of like saving the day in a way. So, and it's considered to be a classic just because it is kind of so unique for the time period that it came out in, 1979. So Prometheus, not as much of a classic. Like I said, a lot of people don't like that movie, which is really unfortunate in my opinion because I think that they're missing out. But yeah, just some kind of like interesting little tidbits about this particular film or the franchise, the original movie Alien. Apparently Harrison Ford was cast, or he was requested to be cast as one of the roles or in one of the roles, and he actually turned it down. So it's a bummer for him. But I don't think Harrison Ford much cares for acting. I've kind of gotten like a general disdain from him when it comes to like Hollywood culture. George Lucas had to convince him to play Indiana Jones.
Oh.
Yeah. So he definitely
He's
doesn't.
like anti-Hollywood.
Yeah. I don't know exactly. Yeah, I don't know exactly what his deal is or why he got into acting in the first place. I think it's he just happened to stumble into it and then was like, all right, I guess I'll keep making money doing this. And then I just wanted to mention like a ton of really interesting techniques went into directing this film, and it really shows in the acting. The acting in this movie is incredible, and there are certain scenes that like people legitimately didn't know were going to happen. So Ridley Scott, like, who's the director, was able to capture like real sheer abject terror from people because they're all like in this zone of acting.
Right.
And then this like random thing happens. Like there's a very iconic scene where, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't seen it, where it's just very gruesome. And the actors and actresses didn't know that was how that scene was going to go down.
Oh, so they were like
genuinely terrified in that moment. Yeah. So definitely a lot of.
That's good. It's like they actually like those are their real reactions.
Yeah. So I definitely really like Alien and the Alien franchise. And if you haven't seen the original Alien movie, highly recommend. It's pretty cool. But we will get to my next pick, which a lot more people will probably be familiar with right after a quick commercial break.
Want to know the latest and hottest music hitting the airwaves? Don't be left out. Listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Music Podcast. Keith keeps you on the loop with everything you need to know from pop, rock, hip-hop, and the top 40. And we'll throw in news of your favorite artists, concert and tour dates, and so much more. Listen no further, because this is the gold standard in music podcast.
Hello and welcome back to GSMC and Movie Podcast. And it was just me, not joined by anyone, to bring you back in because Keith didn't want to join in this time around. And we're going to get straight into his second pick here for another. His picks are definitely a little more different than mine in terms of like you chose movies with females that not like, I don't know how to explain it. Like mine are more like a strong lead in terms of the role they were playing in, the message they're trying to convey, and yours are movies that happen to have a woman as a lead role. Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, I guess like I would say like what's the name of that movie that just came out? It had something to do with birds. I don't remember. It's like
Birds of Prey?
No, it's an indie movie that came out like a couple years ago that everybody loved.
I thought you.
It was based in Sacramento.
Okay. I thought you said. Oh, it just came out.
Lady Bird. That's what it was.
Okay.
I would consider I can't remember Ronan or something. I can't remember the woman's name who played the lead in Lady Bird, but like I'd consider that a strong female lead, even though like the point of the character isn't to be strong. The point of the character is to just tell a story from a female perspective.
Right.
So my thought on strong female lead was a female's perspective leads the movie.
Yeah. No, so. And that's something actually that was like interesting and I think it could also be just maybe like my point of view, like, so not saying that yours, like, not saying that yours are wrong, but I noticed that right now in the notes. I'm like, oh, like we kind of like, we're looking at different things, but, anyway, so what is your second pick here?
RogueOne, a Star Wars story, which a lot of people probably will be surprised at because I normally trash on new Star Wars movies, but this one wasn't too bad. First off, I want to say I can't believe that this movie is 4 years old. It feels like it came out last year. And every time someone talks about it, I'm like, oh, you mean the Star Wars movie that came out last year? Mostly because it's the most memorable one to have come out in the last 4 years. At me in the comments. I will definitely go to bat against all of the other Star Wars films that have come out in the last few years. I, in my opinion, think that most of them are really bad. But anyway, so, quick synopsis of the movie in case you haven't seen it, though I'd be surprised if you haven't. Cynthia hasn't seen it, which is a surprise to me because this was an incredibly popular movie. The synopsis is, all looks lost for the rebellion against the Empire as they learn of the existence of a new superweapon, the Death Star. Once a possible weakness in its construction is uncovered, the Rebel Alliance must set out on a desperate mission to steal the plans for the Death Star. The future of the entire galaxy now rests upon its success. So, this movie's pretty cool. It's directed by J.J. Abrams, who is a pretty good director and filmmaker. He did the Star Trek movies, and he also did a Mission Impossible film, which makes sense because this movie is basically just Star Wars / Mission Impossible at the same time. So, definitely, yeah. The movie grossed over $1 billion worldwide.
Wow. Which
is insane. It's, I don't know, it's pretty good. I don't think it's, well, okay, it is grossed $1 billion worldwide good because like the Fast and the Furious movies all do insanely well in the world market. Like they might only have like 5 to 10 mil of domestic like US ticket sales, but like they gross so much money because of how popular they are in other countries. It's pretty hilarious. So, a lot of production companies are targeting the worldwide market more than they are targeting the United States market, and then they just happen to release it in the United States because distribution here is pretty easy for them. So, just some interesting little tidbits about the film. If you're a Star Wars nerd like I am, Grand Moff Tarkin actually makes an appearance, which is interesting because the guy who played him died in 1994. How did they do that, Keith? They had the actor wear like a weird face thing so that they could superimpose the actor who played Grand Moff Tarkin originally over the top of it. And it actually looks pretty legit. I almost couldn't tell the difference. So that was cool. The movie has a ton of call-outs to the original trilogy, as this is technically a prequel to Episode 4. It has a lot of cool implications as far as like force powers and different capacities. Cynthia's just sitting here nodding. She's never watched a Star Wars movie all the way through, so I'm just kind of trying to breeze through this real quick so we can get to the next one.
Don't breeze. I mean, there's a movie you enjoyed, so
it was good. It was basically just Mission Impossible, but with Star Wars. And then there's this cool scene at the end where that involves like hyperspace travel that I thought was like really interesting and like different from what has been done in previous Star Wars movies. So I was like, oh, okay, that's cool and an interesting way to examine the capabilities of that particular thing. So I liked that part of it.
So did you like Rogue One because it wasn't owned by Disney yet?
No. RogueOne was after the Disney merger or the Disney acquisition. I think it was the second movie that they put out after the first installment of the new trilogy. Because I think Rogue One came between episode 8 and episode 9. I think Rogue One came out in that time period, and then
there's so many. I think that's why I just get like overwhelmed.
No, you really only need to watch episodes 4, 5, and 6 to get the gist of it, and like you don't need to watch the prequels or the new trilogy. Like none of them have anything really substantial. The original trilogy is what's cool, in my opinion. So,
and there's like now TV shows.
Yep,
like
The Mandalorian is a big one,
right?
And then there's like a bunch of little animated shows that are like kind of targeted for like the young adult audience. So those are cool. I liked those a lot, but. Yeah, as I was kind of mentioning, because they're targeting the worldwide market, and this was really present in the episode 9 movie, there's a lot of pandering being done to specific audiences, particularly like China. So like Disney's been kind of shoehorning in actors from China as frequently as possible. Like there's a whole subplot in episode 9 that did not need to be in that film at all that involved an actress from China. And like it's not that I'm against like minority representation by any means. Like I think that it's cool, but it's just that when it's obviously pandering to China because you're shoehorning in a plot that has nothing to do with anything else that's going on and there's no reason for it to be there, then that's just placating and that's insulting in my opinion. So I think it's pretty telling of the intentions of the film that they would be doing things like that. Because it's not like that role was even necessary in episode 9. Like that character could have not existed and the movie would have been just as good. But they like shoehorned in an actress from, I think she's from like Chinese cinema. So it was just very, not that great.
The strong female lead in this movie.
In Rogue One. Yeah, that's the one.
Or Rogue One.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Amelia Clark.
Is the character the Princess Leia?
No.
That's like the only female character I know.
No, and like what's kind of a bummer is that Princess Leia doesn't have a ton. Well, she does a lot of stuff in episode 4 and episode 6, but in episode 5, she mostly just mostly just put Carrie Fisher in a metal bikini and said, "Just lay there."
Just lay there.
Oh wait, no, that's episode 6 that she's in. It's in Return to the Jedi because that was also the episode where they had the Ewoks. Yeah, and episode 5 is where Han Solo gets frozen in carbonite. So, anyway, that's a lot of details you didn't need to know. We can move on to the next movie.
I'm so confused. I'm so confused. Who's like the strong female lead?
It's the woman played by Amelia Clark. I didn't look up her name. I just knew that it was honestly.
But what's her character in the movie or her role?
Oh, I think she kind of like plays I don't know. She's like the lead on the mission or something like that. I don't know exactly what her specific role is. It's just a movie that starred a female. So I was like, cool. I will put it on there because it's popular and people like it. And I thought we could talk about it a little bit more. But no, there's like, I don't think that anything about her being a woman was necessarily central to the movie. And like I kind of mentioned with the previous one, like Sigourney Weaver was one of the first females to play like a BA action star movie lead, in a blockbuster film. So that was doing something interesting and unique. Whereas like the casting on this could have gone pretty much any direction and it wouldn't have really changed the story. The point of the story is just that it's Mission Impossible, but with Star Wars. So it's really not like, it's not like her role is particularly memorable or anything like that, or even that it's purposeful that I'm sure it was purposeful that they chose a woman for it, but not because the character necessitated a female, but just because they wanted to use a female lead as a way to garner a specific kind of attention, I'm sure. So, which is fine. It's not like Wonder Woman. Like Wonder Woman has to be a woman.
Right.
And like, Gal Gadot, I think is her name. She killed it in that movie. So yeah. Anyway. But that's all on Rogue One. But I do have one more pick, and we'll kind of breeze through this one quickly as well. It's a movie called Amelie, which is directed by Jean-Pierre Jeunet. He's primarily a French director. I think he did a movie called The Engagement, so that's relatively interesting. I don't know anything about that movie. Quick synopsis, which I've said every single time I've gone to describe a movie that I'm talking about.
But I mean, that's what it's called. It's a quick synopsis.
That's true. Well, how about I do this? I get to the quick synopsis right after we take a quick commercial break.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Hey guys, and welcome back to GSMC Movie Podcast. Right before the break, Keith shared with us his, what is this, third pick now? with the strong female lead here, Amelie. So this one, again, you tend to choose movies that once I look or watch the trailer, I never understand like what it's about, which is like interesting to me because I'm like, okay, like what is, you show me like a different perspective on or different world of cinema that like I feel like I typically wouldn't be interested in watching. Yeah. So Amelie, I want to know more about it.
Amelie so the quick synopsis is a story about a girl named Amelie whose childhood was suppressed by her father's mistaken concerns of a heart defect. With these concerns, Amelie gets hardly any real-life contact with other people. This leads her to resort to her own fantastical world and dreams of love and beauty. She later on becomes a young woman, as is normal, and moves to the central part of Paris and works as a waitress. After finding a lost treasure belonging to the former occupant of her apartment, she decides to return it to him. After seeing his reaction and his newfound perspective, she decides to devote her life to the people around her. So this is just kind of like a really good like indie slice of life movie. It's kind of a coming of age story that is portrayed by an older adult woman because she had most of her developmental years denied her because of her father's mistaken fear of the heart defect. So it's just kind of really cutesy. I would call it like
it looked kind of quirky to me when I was
super quirky. It's like an intellectual Enchanted. Or is that the one where it's the princess who gets dropped in New York City? Is that Rachel McAdams?
Ella Enchanted?
Ella Enchanted, yeah.
That's with Anne Hathaway.
No, that I'm not thinking of that. I'm thinking of a different one. Either way, I think it's Amy Adams or Rachel McAdams or something.
I feel like I know what you're talking about. Like I can't think of it right now.
But anyway, so that movie, it's kind of like that movie, but more intellectual because it doesn't have the fantastic elements that other movie has. Mm-hmm. So I really enjoyed it. The filming of this was very tedious because they would like actually clean up the streets that they used for live sets. So they just did a really good job with the production and the filming and the cinematography. It's like your classic early 2000s indie movie is what the feel is of it. I just really enjoy it, and you can tell that a lot of love went into it. And it just has these really interesting kind of like insights and reflections on how our lives intersect with and interact with other people. And I just found that to be really enjoyable, especially from the alternative perspective of like a female lead. So,
yeah, it seems interesting for sure, Amelie. And did you already mention who plays Amelie in this film?
I did not. It is an actress by the name of Audrey Tautou. Tau? I don't know. It's spelled Tautou. So all you people who speak French, please let me know. how to say that name. Yeah, no, so she plays the lead character in that, and she does an excellent job. Very cutesy, very quirky. Definitely a good date movie. Actually, it's an excellent date movie.
Have you watched it with your girlfriend?
No, I haven't watched it with my current girlfriend. I watched it with an ex-girlfriend and her family.
Is that how you found out about the movie? You're like, oh.
It was, yeah. So, but I just really enjoyed it outside of like my having watched it with that particular significant other at the time. I just really like it. I think it's a good movie. I haven't watched it since. I would like to. So I'll probably go back and revisit it. And just something interesting, it has a traveling gnome, kind of like those old Travelocity commercials did.
I don't think I've seen the Travelocity commercials.
The one with the traveling gnome? Oh, you've got to look those up. There's some pretty funny ones.
I feel like
and
I know
it's it's iconic. Like people remember the Travelocity gnome. It was a meme for a while.
Why do I not remember it?
It's okay. It's because
we're gonna blame it on daylight savings.
No, you weren't old enough to be paying that much attention to commercials when they were out. I think it because
I watched commercials when I was younger.
You're 4 years younger than me, right?
Yeah, but
that's an easy opportunity for you to just like not be watching the TV channels that had those commercials on them when I was. Like if I'm 18 and you're 14, you're probably not watching NFL games and seeing Travelocity commercials.
No, my family, we're not sports people. We watch novelas, so we see a different type of commercials.
Some people watch novelas and football, or should I say novelas y fútbol americano.
Yeah, americano. But yeah, my family, we like never really played.
Sorry,
we
americano.
We never play or watch sports. So if it played like on a lot of like commercials for a break, or if that commercial played on a lot of networks that played sports games, my family like never
would not have
ever,
seen them.
Never.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Yeah. I understand. It's okay. You're just totally missing out.
I'm totally missing
on this
out.
cute.
I feel like I am.
Gnome.
I feel like I am.
Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
There we go.
So that does it for my picks. So
dun, dun, dun.
Now we'll finally get to Cynthia's picks, which ultimately are probably superior to mine. I liked your picks better than my picks.
No, I like I said, I think when I was in my mind, I'm thinking strong female lead. I think of obviously a woman. What is her role trying to convey? What's the message?
Yeah.
Did she do something, I don't know, like unique with her role.
Yeah.
So that was kind of my mentality, and kind of like you, like immediately when I think of strong female role, I typically tend to go to like action movies. So Wonder Woman, but I was like, no, I want to like try and refrain from doing that because I always talk about like action films.
Yeah.
So my top 3 picks are all like very different genres.
Yeah.
And the very first one that I chose, you all have seen this movie. It's a classic Disney movie. Happens to actually be one of my favorites. And it's Mulan, the Disney movie.
The animated Disney movie.
Yeah, the animated one. I know they're coming.
Because the new one hasn't come out yet.
Yeah. That one looks pretty cool too, but I just love the animated one.
It looks cool, kind of, except for there's no love interest and they took out all the singing.
Yeah, exactly. And
which like...
That's everything about Mulan.
I know. Like part of it is that like not only does she get to like save her family, save the country and all that, but she gets the guy. Like she's the active pursuer of the person that she wants to be with. And
exactly.
I thought that was awesome. Because girls, y'all don't shoot your shot enough. And Mulan, she shot that shot. She wanted that man. She went out and she got what she wanted. And I think I don't think that shows a reliance on men. I think that shows that it's okay for women to have desire and pursue it. Yeah. And I think that's cool. So I think it's lame that Disney pulled out the love interest. I think that is an important aspect of that whole achieving independence.
Do you think they actually pulled it, or they just like didn't show that portion in the trailer?
No, I know that they actually pulled it. His character name is absent from the credits.
What?
So he's just not there anymore. Yeah, no. And you know that it's just a room full of like writers who think that they're going to do something interesting by being like, oh, we were the first ones to blah, 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 blah. It's like, look, romance is absolutely okay from both sides. Guys can be romantic and pursue a woman. Women can be romantic and pursue a guy. There's nothing wrong with either. And I think that there needs to be more portrayal of women pursuing men. not just because I think it would help out all my single guy friends, but also because I think it legitimately is good to have as many perspectives of a particular common thing that everybody experiences as possible.
Right. And it's crazy to me too, because Mulan came out years ago, decades ago, and the fact that, you know, they displayed, you know, this strong message of like female empowerment.
Absolutely.
And of equality too, because I mean, she's a woman who disguised herself as a man.
And is forced to sing a song about becoming a man.
Right.
Yeah.
To serve in the army for her father. And she ends up like saving all of China, and like she's breaking all of these stereotypes. And to be sending that message to, you know, a young audience at that time, when I feel like right now, yes, the wave of like female empowerment is like very strong right now, which is like great. But back then, like when I, you know, in the 90s, not as much.
It was much different. Gender roles were different then. Yeah,
absolutely. So I really like Mulan's always gonna like, when I think of strong female role, this is like the first movie that came to mind. I was like, Mulan, perfect. And again, I love that they're conveying this message to like a younger audience.
Yeah, and it's not just a message about like female empowerment. It is that, but it's a big message on self-empowerment too.
Yeah.
And like, I think one of the cool things about the movie Mulan is that ultimately she chooses what she gets to be.
Right.
She chooses, because like there is a part in the beginning of the movie where she sings a song like "When Will My Reflection Show Who I Am," and like
I love that song.
I know, it's a great song. To me, that's saying something about like how who she believes herself to be is not matched by her physical experience, which there's a lot of people who experience stuff like that.
Right.
And by the end of the film, she's able to kind of reconcile everything and say like, well, I am who I am, and this is what I want and what I'm going to do. And I just think that that's really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not to detract from the fact that it is absolutely female centric. Like, that is a huge part of it. I just think that there's additional meaning also that can be pulled from it.
Right.
So I definitely like this pick. I think this is a good pick, and I'm surprised I didn't think of it. Because I really like this movie. Mushu is like my favorite Disney character.
Mushu? Yeah, no. This is like an all around great movie. Like, I love the plot and just everything. Like, the songs, I know the songs are iconic. Right. And you guys, I'm not like a huge Disney freak. Like, I'm not one who like, I don't know. I feel like a lot of people are like obsessed with Disney.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like I'm not like
kind of thing.
Right, honestly. And I'm not like that, but Mulan is always going to be a classic for me, a movie I can watch over and over again. And I think this could be like a really, you know, a true inspiration for like many young girls who are watching and like growing up and seeing this movie. So, yeah, Mulan. It's great. And I think right now we're going to take a really quick break. And when we come back, I'm going to share with you guys my last two picks with a strong female lead.
Watching TV has changed over time. Streaming has become the new norm. That's why Golden State Media Concepts television podcast dives headfirst to the world of cord cutting. Want to be on the loop of what's hot in Netflix? Or if it's not a preference, what about original shows in Hulu? We've got you covered. Join us as we fill in the blank and talk about movies to stream and what show you should be binging. This is the Golden State Media Concepts television podcast.
Cynthia's picks. Let's go.
Oh my God. Their ears are bleeding.
I know. Sorry guys. Normally I'd try a little bit harder, but I just came up with that as the ad was going. So welcome back. I promise not to do that ever again. That's the lie. I will probably do it at some point.
You're like, that's a lie. I'm going to do it again. I don't care what you guys say.
I'm going to do it right now. I'm just kidding. All right. So Cynthia.
Yes.
Tell me about your other two movies with a strong female lead who does not need a man.
No man. There we go.
Or another supporting role. The point of the movie is to be about her.
Right. Period. So, of course, this is another classic movie, one of my favorites, Legally Blonde. The stars Reese Witherspoon. I love Reese Witherspoon.
I thought it was pronounced Reese Witherspoon.
No.
Oh, okay.
No. You're completely wrong. Reese, like Reese's. Like
yes,
candy.
Like a peanut butter cup. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So we're going to be talking about Reese Witherspoon's role, or her character, Elle Woods. You know, in the movie, she's very girly, loves pink, loves her chihuahua, loves fashion.
Oh, yeah. What's the chihuahua's name?
I can't remember. I haven't seen this movie in
silly.
years. But, you know, in this movie, Elle Woods, she proves, you know, that women are just more than their looks because, I mean, I don't know if this is as prominent today as it was back then, but typically when you see, I mean, an attractive woman, people can assume like, oh, that's all she has to offer are looks and not brains. And this movie proves that is not true. You know, Elle Woods, she gets dumped by her boyfriend who wants to go to law school. And, you know, he's like, I need someone. Pretty much he basically calls her like, you're not smart enough. You're stupid. So to prove him wrong and to like get her man back, she enlists in Harvard Law School.
Wow.
Yeah.
Enrolls, by the way. Is the word you're looking for.
Enrolls.
She did not enlist in the Army.
Right. Enrolls. And again, she goes to school and she shows up in this extremely pink in your face outfit.
Yep.
But she ends up like proving everybody wrong, and you know, being hyper feminine does not equal to being stupid. And in anything in the movie, Elle Woods, aka Reese Witherspoon, she uses her hyper femininity to win the trial in that film. And I hope I like didn't ruin it for you guys, because this movie did come out in 2001, and I feel like many people.
Well, that's the same year that Amelie came out.
I noticed too when I watched the movie. So yeah, both of those movies came out in 2001.
I didn't realize that was 19 years ago that came out.
That's crazy.
Wow.
That's crazy. 19 years.
I was 11.
I was
weird. 7.
Yeah, 7. I can't do math. I can't do math.
4 years younger than me.
Right. One of my favorite moments of the movie is when the board was looking at her video as she was trying to enroll, right? She's like, what did she say actually? She's like, I feel comfortable using legal talk in everyday life. And the guy walks behind her and whistles at her. And she goes, I object. Did you ever see this movie?
I did.
It's been a while back.
I don't remember it
that's
that
like,
much.
It's in the trailer. So if you see the trailer, it'll pop up. But yeah, again, I think this is another like great movie that sends the message. Like, not only is it a comedy classic, but
yeah, it is absolutely a comedy classic. Like, it's on top 10 list, or it's on top list. I don't know if I could say top 10. I'm sure that it probably is on the top 10 of some people's lists. So, but it's definitely a classic.
Right. And again, she just like sends that message that like your looks are everything, and you can, you know, be resourceful and be smart, intelligent, hardworking, and don't let people just judge you by your looks. Prove them wrong. And so that's Legally Blonde. That's a couple interesting facts about the movie here. Elle Woods, Reese Witherspoon, wears 40 different hairstyles throughout the film.
That's a lot of hairstyles.
I know. Isn't that a lot?
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine sitting in the chair, like people just
oh my gosh, poking and prodding you the whole time? Oh,
right.
I
mean,
that.
Really? Okay, when I get my hair done, which I'm getting it done in like 2 days, which I'm excited about, I fall asleep because they like massage you. So I fall, my lady already knows, like, don't talk to me. I just close my eyes. She does her thing, and I wake up with like a new head of hair, basically.
That's great.
So yeah, 40 hairstyles. That's a lot.
Crazy, yeah.
Right. And then second or last little fact about the movie is that Elle Woods, which is the character that Reese Witherspoon played in the movie, was named after Elle magazine. Amanda Brown, who's the author of Legally Blonde, the novel the film was based on, spent her time at Stanford Law School reading copies of Elle magazine, and that's how Elle Woods came about.
Okay,
so,
cool.
Which that was interesting because I didn't know Legally Blonde was based off of movie or a novel. So I feel like so many movies nowadays are based off of novels. So that is that on Legally Blonde, or Legally Blind. Not Legally Blind.
Legally Blonde. Yeah, no, I actually definitely enjoyed that movie too when I saw it, and I probably will go back and rewatch it now that I remember.
Me too. Now I know.
Now
Now that I remember too.
Yeah.
Right.
Bruiser is the name of her Chihuahua.
Bruiser?
Yes.
It is. You're totally right.
Which is such a darling name.
You know what's sad though? That's also, I just found out, the dog that played with her in that movie died in 2016.
Well, I mean,
he was 18 years old.
Yeah, that's old for a Chihuahua.
I know. I had two of them. They both lived until 16 or 17.
Yep.
But that song, Legally Blonde, strong female lead, Elle Woods, we already know. And last but not least, this is not a movie. This is a show. It's on Netflix. How to Get Away with Murder with Viola Davis. I love everything with Viola Davis. Just her acting alone, she's one of my favorite actresses. I mean, she can hold it down when it comes to a drama series. When she needs to cry, that woman will cry her eyes out with snot and everything.
Dang.
Yeah. Every single, it doesn't, not even just in this TV show, How to Get Away with Murder, but in The Help and other movies she's been featured in. Every crying scene, she goes in. She goes hard. So if you're a Viola Davis fan, then you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I haven't seen her in anything to my knowledge, so.
No. I feel like you probably, if you were to see her face, you'd be like, oh, I've seen her, somewhere. Because she's, very famous and she's been in a lot of great movies and TV shows. So I'm sure you probably, would recognize her. But her character in How to Get Away with Murder, Annalise Keating, she is just so strong and powerful. She's super commanding over her male peers. She's a law professor and a lawyer, and she's a criminal lawyer. So it's just not only is the plot really cool and there's a lot of twists and turns that makes you you have to binge watch an entire series or a season in one sitting basically. But she also made history as the first Black woman to win the Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Drama Series, which happens to be the show How to Get Away with Murder. So
I'll have to check it out then.
Yeah, so she is getting recognized for her work.
That's great.
She's a savage in the courtroom and just a savage overall, as a woman. I think I picked her because as a person, I just like her work in general. Everything I've seen, I'm she can act her butt off. She really can. So that's pretty much it on my 3 picks for a strong female role. I mean, mine again were Mulan, a Disney film. Then we have Legally Blonde, which is a comedy classic. And then we have this drama TV series, How to Get Away with Murder. So I try to choose mine in 3 different areas, and they all kind of spoke to me in 3 different ways. So that's kind of how I interpreted movies with a strong female lead.
And then I picked movies that starred a female lead, not necessarily a strong female lead. I picked Alien or Prometheus, either one. They're both great. RogueOne and Amelie. So I kind of got pigeonholed into science fiction a little bit there, and then an indie movie, which is normal for me. So also honorable mention to Lady Bird, which was female-led and female-directed, which was pretty cool. So
there we go.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's so many more out there, but these were the first that popped in my mind.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So that about covers it for us this week, guys. If you like the podcast, make sure to give us a like, hit that subscribe button,
share,
follow, review,
comment.
Make sure it's 5 stars. Yeah. So add us on Twitter.
All of that.
Yep. I think that about covers it. Have a great week, everybody.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Movie Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.